Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of Talking Shit with Ava Lisette. I'm Ava Lisette. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. So, today, I didn't really know what I was going to talk about because last week I did not have an episode. And last week, listen, this Mercury retrograde is kind of hitting. It's hitting hard because it's not just Mercury retrograde, it's also Venus retrograde and Juno retrograde. And there's something else in retrograde too. There's like 4 different retrogrades going on and an eclipse season on top of it. So there's just a lot of chaos. A lot of just everything going on, a lot of emotions. So last week was a very hard week and I decided, you know what? I'll give myself a little break, even though we're only 3 episodes in. So you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Here we are now. We're just going to continue on, okay? So let's go ahead and start off with our fragrance of the day, Miss Billie Eilish. I love this fragrance. I'm not really a fan of her other fragrances. The only one that I haven't been able to try is the cherry one that she has, which I think is her 3rd one. But this is number 1, I believe. And let's see. The fragrance family is an Amber Gourmand, which is everything I believe in. I love amber and I love vanillas. Not like super sweet smelling, but just like a little like a vanilla musk sort of thing. So top notes are sugared petals, mandarin, and warm berries. Middle is a creamy vanilla, soft spices, and cocoa. And base is sleek woods, warm musks, and tonka beans. It smells delicious. I usually like to pair it with this other fragrance by Sniff called Tarte Deco. It's like a cherry note, but it's very strong. So I'll put this on like all my pulse points and then I'll like spray the cherry one and step into it just for like a little added cherry. So I usually like to mix those two, but today it was just this one. So I also wanted to catch up on top artists, top songs, top musical. I don't even know what to call that, to be honest. I don't even know what to call it because I don't want to call it songs of the week because that's what Brittany Broski calls her thing. And I don't want to copy paste. You know what I'm saying? So we're just going to we'll do Airbuds recap. We'll call it that, Airbuds recap. So tracks of the week. Number 1 was #Tetas by Catriel and Paco Amoroso, which is their new album. Well, it's on their new album that they just came out with. Okay by Catriel and Paco Amoroso. It's all Catriel and Paco Amoroso, okay? And then El Único, Tumbay, El Día del Amigo. Don't talk about my Spanish, okay? I know it's bad. We're not going to talk about it. Album of the week was Papota, which is the album that's on. Artist of the week, Catriel and Paco Amoroso, SZA, and Sabrina Carpenter. That was last week. And then we'll get into this week at the end of the episode. So this week I wanted to talk about something that crossed my mind the other day. And I was like, oh my God, I need to talk about this on the podcast because I feel like so many people would be able to relate to this. And that is interacting with very odd men when you're in the workplace. I've had a few different interactions with men in the workplace that were very questionable. I worked at Costco for a hot minute and the guys that worked there were very I don't know, all of them just had a very weird vibe. But this specific instance was back when I was working for the siren herself. I was working at Starbucks, which I would not recommend that to my worst enemy. Okay, working at Starbucks is a hellish nightmare, and you truly do not understand the struggle unless you've worked there yourself. It's awful. And I truly, if you're thinking about working at Starbucks, don't do it. Don't do it. Because Starbucks also hires some very questionable people. This being one of them. So obviously I'm not going to use any real names in this. We're going to call him the Taco Man. We're going to call him the Taco Man. And there is a very specific reason why, and you will see that in this story. And another one of my coworkers asked to be called Steve because he says he's always wanted to be a Steve. So we're going to talk about Steve and we're going to talk about Taco Man. So I wrote everything down in chronological order because I did not want to forget where I was in this story because there's a lot that happened within a very short span of time. So basically when I first started working at Starbucks, Steve was my trainer. And I would say maybe 2nd or 3rd day in, he's like, hey, so you have a boyfriend, right? And I was like, yeah, why? Why is this man asking me if I have a boyfriend? He was like, yeah, so there's this coworker, his name is his name is Taco Man, and you should just probably like let him know that you have a boyfriend. And I was like, okay. Like, I was very like confused. I was like, do you really need to give me a warning for this person? Now that I, know that person, absolutely you need a warning when you're interacting with him, because he's a little makes you a little uncomfortable. So I think the first thing that happened with this guy, like when I first interacted with him, he just seemed like, friendly sort of guy. And I was like, okay, like he's not that weird. And I was, just talking to him the same way that I would talk to any coworkers. And back during this time, I was the type of person that was like, I don't like to make friends with my coworkers. I don't like to spend time outside of work with my coworkers. That has now changed. Every single one of my friends in my friend group I met working at Starbucks at my second location. So I'm glad that I did have a change of heart in that. But back then I was very like, yeah, I don't really want to hang out with these people. Like, I'm just here to work. Like, I'll be friendly, but I don't want to be friends with them, right? And so already, like, I kind of started following people on Instagram, even though I was like, I don't really know if I want to do that. But I ended up following, like, most people on Instagram. And I followed him, too, because I was like, okay, well, I don't want him to see that I'm following everybody else and not him. I was a people pleaser back then. So I was like, okay, like, he popped up on my suggested, like, I'll follow him just to be nice. And followed him on Instagram. And I don't remember how long ago Instagram introduced like the Snapchat sort of feature, like where you could like send videos like that were like Snapchats. But I think I posted something on my story about me smoking, because I be smoking. And he was like, oh, I didn't know you smoked. And then I sent him a video of me like smoking a joint that I had just rolled. And I was like, oh yeah, like rolled this myself. And then he sends me a video back. Every time I think about it, I just want to crawl out of my own skin. Oh God, he sends me a video back of him shirtless in his dirty ass bedroom. I'm pretty sure he had a bunk bed, and smoking a hit off of his stizzy. And he was like, yeah, like, I didn't even realize that you smoked like that. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Like, I was so uncomfortable. And I immediately showed Tyler. I was like, what the fuck is this video that he just sent me? I was very uncomfortable. I was like, okay, not gonna feed into that anymore. I was just kind of like, okay, I just need to wipe my hands clean of that and move on. Like, I didn't really want to text him back after that. So then later on, like, as we're kind of working with each other more often, at some point he offers me a hit of his stizzy while we're at work. And I'm not the kind of person to get high at work. Like, I mean, if other people are able to do it, kudos to you. I cannot do it because I get hella paranoid. Like, I've tried getting high at work, can't do it. It's just not for me. But he offers me a hit off of his stizzy while we're working. And this is like 2021. We're still wearing masks during this time. Like, we're still in COVID times. I'm not taking a hit off of your stizzy. Like, what are you I'm not taking a hit off of anybody's stizzy. I'm not sharing straws. I'm not doing anything. So I was like, no thanks. Like, get away from me, like, sort of thing, right? But anyway, so then we start working together more often. I'm working the mids and he works the mids too. So we're always kind of working with each other because we're in the same day part. And when I was working at my last store, we had a receipt printer next to the mobile orders. And if you've ever mobile ordered from Starbucks, like, it says your name on it. And then at some locations, they'll have a receipt paper that they put the drink on top of so that you can see which order is yours. I think they've changed that now, but back then this is how it was. So on one of the receipt papers, like, I'm going to put down a mobile, and it says Coco on it. And I was like, oh, you go Glen Coco. Like, I just randomly said it. And Taco Man, he's kind of like the type of person that wants to be in on the joke. You know what I mean? And I feel like he was kind of just like socially awkward. And he wanted to be like in on something. Like, he wanted inside jokes with people. So I said, like, randomly, not even to anybody, I just said, like, oh, you go Glen Coco. And then I threw away the paper. And then he was like, oh my God. Oh my God, that's so funny. Like, anytime I said anything, he would be like falling on the floor laughing. Like, oh my God, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Oh my God, that's so funny. And I was like, okay, like, I get it. I'm funny. I know. But, so then after that, like I said, since he wants to be like in on the joke, he starts calling me Glen Coco. And I was like, this was not like an inside joke, dude. Like, I just said it, and now this is my nickname. Now you're calling me Glen Coco all the time. So that was like very just like weird. And then over time, he started saying like, you go Coco of the Glen. What? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was so just like weird and uncomfortable. And then I also forgot to mention this, but every single day he would come in wearing like motorcycle gear. And so I asked him, I was like, oh, like, do you have a motorcycle? Like, do you have a bike? And he was like, oh yeah, I do. And blah, 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 blah. Like, I got it at this time and everything. And there was one time that I saw him leave. He got on a moped. He was wearing full biker gear, like helmet, jacket, and he got on a moped. And I was like, okay. But anyway, so we're kind of like, you know, just working together all the time. Like, I'm seeing him all the time. And as we're talking, you know, like amongst ourselves on the floor, I mentioned that my first job was Build-A-Bear. I was like, oh yeah, like I used to work at Build-A-Bear. It was a lot of fun. Like, that was my first job. And I feel like, you know, I got good at customer service because they kind of train you to be good at customer service there. And then he was like, oh my gosh, like I've never been to Build-A-Bear before. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Like, they have some really cool stuff there. Like, you should go for your birthday because they have like really cute birthday bears that have like, you know, confetti on the paws and everything. Like, it's super cute. And for some reason, he took that as I was going to take him to Build-A-Bear for his birthday. And I was like, I'm sorry. I said you should go to Build-A-Bear. I did not say we. I said you should go to Build-A-Bear. So then it's approaching his birthday, right? And I find out that his birthday is a day after my boyfriend's, or my fiance now. And I was like, oh, thank God I have an out. I was like, oh, sorry. Like, Tyler and I are going to be celebrating his birthday. Like, you know. So I felt like I had an out for it because at this time, I didn't want to be like mean or rude. I was just like, sorry, you know, hands are tied. Can't do anything about it. But, yeah, so that whole Build-A-Bear thing was kind of weird too, because I was like, what do you mean? I never said that I was going to take you to Build-A-Bear. Okay. Anyway, then I'm going to cross this shit out as I go because there were so many things that happened. I had to write it down. Then after that, it turned into, oh my God, like, Tyler's such a great guy. Oh my God, he's so nice. I love that he brought you flowers. I love that he does this. I love that he does that. Like, he's such a great guy. And I feel like a lot of the times when people are overly supportive of your relationship, babe, you have ulterior motives. Hello, can I speak? You have ulterior motives, okay? And we can see right through it. I feel like a lot of the times it happens more with women than it does with men. This was my first time experiencing a man who did that to my relationship, because there have been women and girls that have either worked with Tyler or just knew Tyler that were like, oh my God, you guys are just like so cute together. Like, I love you guys so much. And it's like, I know what you mean by that, babe. Like, what are you doing? And so then he starts doing all that. Like, anytime I post about Tyler on my story, he's replying to it and he's like, oh my God, he's such a great guy. Love that for you. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? Like, I don't know. Like, that just kind of gave me like a weird vibe. And then we're about to get into the tacos, okay? Here is the Taco Man lore. The reason I call him Taco Man is because most of the time on his lunch, he would go to get tacos. And there was one time that he went to go get tacos because we were in like an area, like a strip mall that had a taco place like nearby. And so one day he's going on his lunch and he's like, oh, hey guys, like I'm going to get tacos. Does anybody want any? And I was like, ooh, tacos sound really good. Like, I'm going to write down my order for you so that, you know, like you could pick it up for me. So the first time, very like normal interaction. Like, if a coworker goes and gets you something, like they bring it back, you pay them, no big deal. So that was the first time. That was completely normal. Then the second time, he goes and he gets the tacos. And then when he comes back, I was like, oh, how much do I owe you? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. What? He's like, no, don't worry about it. I was like, are you sure? Like, I can pay you back right now. He's like, no, it's okay. Don't worry. And so I was like, okay, like, that's a little weird. And then the third time he goes, he's asking on the floor, like, hey, does anybody want anything from the taco place? And he asks me specifically, like, hey, Ava, do you want anything from the tacos place? Like, I'm gonna go get tacos right now. And I was like, oh, no, I'm good. And he's like, are you sure? No, I'm okay. I'm good. Thanks. No problem. And then he goes And then when he comes back, he's like, oh, hey, so by the way, the taco lady gave me an extra taco, so I left it in the back for you just in case you wanted it. It was my exact order. There's no way that she just gave you an extra taco and it was my exact order, bro. It was my exact order, because this is the thing. I don't have like a crazy order. It's carne asada tacos with cilantro and onion and red salsa, right? But I like to put the red salsa on it, and then I like some limes on the side. He had everything. He had the whole order. And I was like, okay. That was the first time that I was like, okay, this is a little weird. Like, this is getting weird. First, he's telling me that I don't have to pay him back. Now he's getting me a taco when I'm not asking for a taco. I was just kind of like weirded out by that. So then we worked a Sunday shift together. And at my first location, we were near Disneyland. So it was chaos all the time, like all throughout the day. But on Sundays specifically, we were getting the Disney crowd on the weekend plus the church crowd. And every single Sunday, I'm not even exaggerating, 4 call-outs. Like minimum, we were getting 4 call-outs that day. And so Sundays were always like a really hard shift. Like we all collectively knew Sundays were like the shitty shift. Like nobody wanted to work Sundays. So me and Taco Man are working this shift together, and I'm working an 8-hour. And so I'm like just exhausted. And he goes on his lunch. He doesn't say where he's going, but I'm, just based off assumption, he usually goes to the same place. So I'm assuming he's going to get tacos. He comes back. And then when he comes back onto the floor from his lunch, he's like, oh, hey, I left something for you in the back. And I was like, what? But it was like the way that he said it, he was like, oh, hey, just by the way, like, I left you something in the back. Oh, I just remembered another detail. Okay. So I just remembered another detail that I needed to add onto this. So he's like, oh, hey, by the way, like, I got you something. It's in the back. And I was like, okay. And then I'd go on my lunch. 3 tacos, my exact order. Side of rice and beans, bottled Coke, and a note. A note on it that said, hey, I know that it's a really hard shift today, but you're doing a really great job. You go, Glen Coco. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is going on in here on this day? I was so like, why the fuck is he leaving me a note with this? It made me so severely uncomfortable that I was like, okay, no, I need to talk to my manager about this, because at this point, it's getting weird, and this feels like some level of harassment. Like, I don't know what it is, but it just felt very weird and awkward. And so I was like, I need to talk to my manager about this. So I talked to my manager, and I'm like, hey, so Taco Man did this thing and it made me uncomfortable. Like, I feel like he's leaving me like gifts, and I don't know if that was his intention or not, but it's making me very uncomfortable and I don't like this. And so he's like, okay, I'll go ahead and have a chat with him. And so he has a chat with him. And according to my manager, the conversation was, Taco Man got very heated at one point, saying like, well, nobody at the store ever wants to like hang out with me or anything. And my manager's like, well, they're not obligated to hang out with you. Like, this is work. You're here to work. And, he suggested like, maybe, like invite them out to go bowling. Like you could be the one to invite people to go places and blah, blah, blah. But Taco Man was getting real mad that nobody was hanging out with him outside of work. And it was like, okay, that's a little weird, but whatever. So then after this, I kind of started distancing myself, because I was like, at this point now, he's making me really uncomfortable. Like body language wise too, a lot of the things that he did on the floor also made me very uncomfortable. Like he would stand very close to me. Again, COVID times, I don't want anybody near me, okay? I don't like people near me in general, but during COVID, I was like, get the fuck out of my personal bubble. But he would be like right up next to me all the time. And every single time he went behind you, like, like in a kitchen, restaurant, like food service, if somebody's behind you and they're holding something hot, they're like, oh, behind, or to your right, to your left, just to make sure that people know around you where you are so that you don't bump into them and they spill something. Every single time. It wasn't just a behind, it was behind. It would stress me out. It would stress me out so bad. So then after that, just a lot of the stuff that he was doing was just starting to like piss me off. Like once I'm annoyed with somebody, I'm like, every single thing you do is going to make me mad. Every single thing you do. So then I started getting like really upset, and I'm just like creating this distance because I'm like, I feel like I don't know, like maybe you're reading into this wrong. I don't know. Like, please just get away from me. I just want to come here to work. That's all I want to do. And I will admit that there was one time where he was talking to me and I was very irritated and I snapped at him, and that I should not have done. That is something that I do regret doing because that was very unprofessional of me. But during this time, I was just so like, please don't talk to me. Like, I just don't want to be around you anymore. So then, okay, where am I? Where am I in this story? So then I noticed like he's starting to get like a little upset with me because I'm creating this distance. And I noticed like he was starting to do like little things. And I don't know if he was doing little things to get my attention, to try to fuck with me. Like, I don't know what it was. But there was one day that I go to the back and I go to the back to grab my sandwich because I usually get a double smoked bacon. And I went to the back to go grab my sandwich and it was gone. And he was like, oh, hey, by the way, I threw away your sandwich. You weren't going to eat it, right? I'm sorry. Why the fuck are you touching my food? And I was literally like, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. And then I walk away and then I go to order another sandwich because I was like, this bitch fucking threw away my fucking sandwich. And so I go to order another sandwich and then he comes up to me while I'm ordering. He's like, oh, hey, you can use my mark out. I can get you this sandwich. And I was like, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. Like, he keeps on trying, like pushing. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, the deed is done. You already fucked it up. Don't come near me. If you start fucking with my food, get away from me. Like, do not fucking talk to me. And so that whole thing pissed me off. So then after this, like, I created this distance. Like, he kind of stops bothering me for a while. And then I just start noticing that then he starts going in on other girls. We had this girl start working at our store that was like freshly 18 years old, like right out of high school, first job, like freshly 18. He was, I want to say like 25, around that age. And he starts dating this 18-year-old. That's a little questionable, okay? And I know at 18, a lot of us have that relationship with somebody that was in their mid-20s. And it ends up being one of the worst relationships and one of the worst decisions you've ever made in your entire life. Like, I know I have that experience. So I don't know if this was the experience for her, but I know for me, that was like the relationship that I was like, oh yeah, that was not okay. Because now that I am 24, I have nothing in common with an 18 or 19-year-old. I have no business dating an 18 or 19-year-old. If I was single, if I was not in a relationship, you think I'd be looking at an 18 and 19-year-old? I feel like a lot of the times with men, they date women that are younger, one, because you're low-key a pedophile, but also two, because women your age know that you're a loser and that you just can't get women. So then you start, creeping on the fresh meat because they don't have any relationship experience. That's my take, all right? But anyway, so he starts dating this girl and I'm like, this is really weird. Like, why are you dating an 18-year-old? But that was like a whole thing. And on top of that, he had a chin strap beard. Bitch, it is 2021. Why do you have a chin strap beard in 2021? It was the ugliest fucking beard I had ever seen in my entire life. Not only that, this man looked like the true human embodiment of an incel. Like, I don't know how to describe it. He just didn't have a skincare routine, looked like he never brushed his teeth. His gums were hella inflamed. And like bleached hair that was like the roots were overgrown and it wasn't toned. So it was like an orange bleach. He was just icky, like just very icky. And that just made the whole situation like so much worse, was the fact that he looked like that. He looked like a classic incel and it was just gross, right? Okay, so then we're just kind of going into like the little cringe things that he did. So chin strap beard, dating an 18-year-old, and then this is something that still gets quoted in my home to this day. So one day I'm leaving work at the end of a shift and Taco Man is still inside and Steve rolls up to come through the drive-thru to get a drink. Steve rolls up and I'm outside so I can hear the speaker box. Like, I'm in earshot and I hear Taco Man go, "Is that my king?" And Steve is like, hey. Every single time I think about that, that is the funniest shit I had ever heard in my entire life. Is that my king? What are you talking? You're a grown-ass man. What are you doing? It was so cringy. And that is still something that me and Tyler quote to this fucking day. Because as soon as I heard that, I text Steve. I'm like, is that my king? And every once in a while, like when we send each other memes, I'll send that to him too because it just cracks me up. But that was another instance. Okay, so now we're gonna go into like the other like kind of creepy-ish shit that he did before he left. So at one point he tried to like promote at other stores, and then he was gonna transfer to a different location. So it's his last day, and on his last day, first of all, I'm already annoyed because he's on DTO, I'm on DTR, and if you don't work at Starbucks, that basically means he was working the speaker box and taking the orders, and I was at the window with the register giving out the orders. And so we're right next to each other, and I'm, handing out the drinks, taking payment, and he's like, hey, Ava, like, it's my last day, and I wanted to talk to you about something. And I was like, okay, just hold on one second, like, I'm still helping this person. And then he just keeps fucking talking. I just told you to give me a second. Excuse me. And he keeps talking. He's like, well, I don't really understand, like, why, like, you just kind of started acting weird towards me. And I was like, oh. And I was like, Taco Man, I can't have this conversation with you right now. Like, I'm in the middle of helping a customer. Like, please give me a second. I go back to helping. Okay, well, I just feel like you just started acting really weird towards me. And, I just feel like you hate me. I never said I hated you. Like, so now I'm invested. Now I'm like, okay, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I never said that I hated you. I put some distance between us because you were a weirdo. I didn't say that to his face. But that was like my reasoning. I was like, I never hated you. You were just annoying and a weirdo to me, so I put distance in between us. But to him, I was like, I'm not going to have this conversation with you right now. During this time, me and Tyler were also going through a very shitty living situation. Like, we had like a crazy roommate situation. And so I was already dealing with a lot at home. I could not handle any other stress during this time. And so I'm like, listen, I cannot have this conversation with you right now. I'm in the middle of helping a customer. And I go back, and then he's like, well, I just don't understand why you're acting like this. Like, I never even liked you like that. And I turned around and I was like, I never said you did. And then he's like, he shuts up real fast. I was like, oh, did you just tell on yourself? Like, because I never said that you were attracted to me. I never said that you did like me like that. So did you just tell on yourself? Like, what do you mean? I never said that you did. And so then after that, he's like, well, I just don't understand. Like, then he's getting like really, really heated, right? Like, and almost like aggressive. And like the shit that he's saying, I literally couldn't even tell you what it was because at this point I saw red. As soon as I saw him acting aggressive towards me, I was like, oh, hell no, this isn't happening right now. I was like, okay, some of the things that you did made me feel uncomfortable. So then he's like, well, I just don't understand. Like, what did I do to make you feel uncomfortable? And I was like, you're making me uncomfortable right now. And just straight up, just gave it to him flat out. I was like, you're making me uncomfortable right now. And then he shut up and he walked away. And I was like, thank God I can finally get back to helping these poor customers that have been waiting here for like 2 minutes now because you couldn't stop yapping in my fucking ear. And so he walks away. It's the end of his shift. He goes away, finally. And then where our DTO and DTR section were, we were like, you could see the front registers, right? So maybe like 5-10 minutes later, I'm taking orders. I'm doing both DTO and DTR. And as I'm taking an order, I look over and he's at the register and he's talking to one of the, he's ordering something and he's crying. I look over at him but he's giving me like dagger eyes with tears streaming down his face. And I was like, okay, okay, what the fuck? So then after he leaves, he's officially gone. Like, that's his last day. That was our last interaction we've ever had. And so after this, he leaves and I unfollow him on Instagram because I'm like, I'm not going to follow you anymore. Like, you're a fucking weirdo. Like, what do you mean? So then he and Steve used to go to the gym together and they were at the gym And he's like, oh yeah, Ava unfollowed me, like she's such a bitch and blah 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 blah. And he's like going off. And then Steve is like immediately texting me like all this shit. He's like, oh dude, so and so, like Taco Man's really really fucking mad that you unfollowed him and he's calling you a bitch and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, like I don't care if you think I'm a bitch. You were a fucking weirdo towards me. I set a boundary with you. Like maybe you're not comfortable with people setting boundaries with you. Sorry, but if you're gonna be a weirdo to me, I'm not going to want to talk to you. And especially that being our last interaction, the way that it was, you think I'm going to keep following you after this? What do you mean? You're insane. Like, what are you talking about? And then I find out pretty recently, like I was going through my stories. Turns out this man still follows me. And I feel like maybe I should block him. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Let a hater watch. I don't care. I really don't care. But yeah, that was probably my weirdest interaction with a guy at work. And I feel like that's saying something because I've had multiple like shitty dudes that I worked with that were just very, very weird. I feel like I thrive in feminine work environments. You know what I mean? Like my last Starbucks that I worked at, it was mostly women. It was women and gay men. And then we had like one straight guy and then our manager was a straight guy. And don't like that manager either. But he was literally like, I don't know. I just feel like being in a feminine workplace is just so much more comfortable than having to work with men. Because I feel like a lot of the times men have been very weird towards me. And I don't know what energy I'm like is like attracting them to me. But like, okay, for example, when I was working at Costco, I had 3 weird interactions with 3 different people. And this was like, I was working there for maybe 3 months. Like it was a seasonal position because I just needed some extra money. And I think this was 2023 that I did it, like October, November of 2023. And so I started working at Costco. And when you work a seasonal position there, they have you in the bakery first because they need you pumping out those pumpkin pies for Thanksgiving. And so I was in the bakery for a while. And while I'm in the bakery, well, first of all, there was like a pod that I was hired with. Like they would like have groups of people come in and then all these people would get hired and then we would do all of our orientations together and then our training together at the same time. And so there was this one guy, he was like an older guy, maybe like in his 60s. And at first, my interactions with him like weren't crazy. I'm going to call him Jose. My interactions with him weren't crazy, but there was one time that we were in the bakery together and I hadn't seen him like since our first day. This is maybe like a month in. And he sees me and he was like, oh, like, it's so good to see you. And I was like, oh, hi, good to see you too. And he's like, oh, like, I like being in the bakery during this time. Like, they usually have me in here at like during the overnight shifts. There's no women here. And I was like, okay. And he was like, it's just nice to see a pretty face. Okay. Like, no. Like, and then he's talking about all of the other girls that are working in the bakery with us. And he's talking about like, oh, like, yeah, she's really nice and she's really nice and she's super pretty and blah, 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 blah. And just like, it's so nice to be working around pretty ladies. That's weird. That is a weird thing to say. When you are in the workplace, do not talk about the attractiveness of the people around you. I feel like, what is people's issue with that? I don't understand why people think it's so hard to not like flirt with coworkers, be attracted to coworkers like out loud. It's one thing to be attracted to a coworker. It's another thing to fucking verbalize it and to be a weirdo towards that person because you're attracted to them. Like, he was just really weird and he just gave me off like creepy uncle vibes. You know what I'm talking about? So then that's him. There was another guy that also worked in the bakery, and I'll call him I'll call him Robert because he liked classic rock. Robert Plant. Okay, whatever. So he liked classic rock. And when you were working in the bakery, we were allowed to listen to our own music. And so one day he puts on his playlist and I was like, oh my gosh, like, whose playlist is this? Like, I love classic rock. And he was like, oh, that's mine. Like, like, who are some of your favorite bands? And I was like, oh, like, I'm a huge Led Zeppelin fan. Like, what are yours? He's like, oh, like, I like the Doors. I like this. I like that. And I was like, oh, okay, like, that's so cool. Like, I'm a huge Zeppelin fan. Like, I even have a tattoo for them. And he was like, oh, let's see it. And I was like, oh, I can't. Like, because it's on my side. So I'm just like, oh, I can't show you right now. And I don't know if he took that as like flirtatious, because his response was like, well, maybe you could show it to me another time. No. Oh my God. No. Like, it was so weird. And then I just noticed like this very like flirtatious sort of like energy coming from him. And I was like, during this time though, thank God, I got like a man repellent haircut. Like I got like a full mullet, and it was dyed like this really bright, like orangey ginger. So I feel like after that, he kind of stopped bothering me, which I was like, thank God. Like, I love having man repellent hair. Right now my hair is very boring, but it was just very like, I noticed a difference once I got my hair cut. And then there was this other guy. I'll call him Jay. He was, oh my God, he was a sexual harassment case waiting to happen. If I had not left when I did, if I had stayed at Costco, this man would have been a sexual harassment case waiting to happen. So he worked in the back, right? And so Costco has like so many different departments. And I was working first in the bakery, and then I was working up front where I was like, you know, helping people put stuff back into their carts, or I was in the clothing section. And he worked in the back, and he was loading and unloading forklifts and stuff like that. And he was like bringing stuff like pallets out onto the floor. And so he was going back and forth all the time, and I would be in the clothing section, and then he would come up and talk to me. And I think our first interaction was probably like in the break room or something, where I literally couldn't even tell you what our first interaction was. Like, I only really remember like the creepy shit that he did. But there was one time that I was like folding the clothes, and he comes up to me and he's just like, I just noticed this very flirtatious energy coming off of him. And I was like, oh, this is weird. Like, I don't know. And then he just like would say like questionable sorts of things. Like, I told him I didn't like Star Wars, and he was like, oh, it's not going to work between us. It never was. What do you mean it's not going to work between us? And I also made it very obvious. Like, during this time, this was before I got engaged, but I was wearing my promise ring all the time. I was like, I have a man. Why are you fucking talking to me like this? And so then, this was where I was like, He started touching me. And like I said, I don't fuck with people in my personal bubble. He comes up to me, grabs my shoulders, and is like, trying to scare me. And I was like, I immediately tense up, because I don't like being touched. I got trauma, all right? I don't like being fucking touched, especially by somebody that I do not know, and you're sneaking up on me to try to scare me. He grabs my shoulders and is like, and I was like, and immediately just like trauma response, fight or flight, I freeze. I'm like, oh my God, he did not just fucking touch me. And then he's like, I got you, like, and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm very fucking uncomfortable. And there was like another time where I don't even remember, he at some point touched my back, and I was like, no, I'm done. I can't. I can't. And this was around January, so this was around the time that I had left. But like, my God, like, I don't understand why men just cannot be fucking normal. Like, even if you are attracted to somebody, why can't you be fucking normal? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like when women are attracted to some guy that they work with, it's not like, so, like, what are you doing after work? Like, why are you acting like that? Like, why are you giving, like, hey mama's energy? Like, get away from me. Like, literally just get away from me. And then when I had my first job, when I was working at Build-A-Bear, there was like 2 guys that worked there, and one of them, I think he might have been gay, and then the other one was a straight guy, and he was my first older boyfriend. Because I don't know, during this, he was the relationship that I wish that I never had, but he literally was like the only guy that I worked with. And then he invited me. He was like, oh, hey, like, do you want to go see the new Lion King movie? Because this was right around the time that the live action Lion King came out. And he's like, oh, hey, like, you want to go see the new Lion King movie? And I was like, yeah, sure, like, I guess. And he takes me to see the Lion King, and it was just the 2 of us. I did not realize that it was just going to be the 2 of us. He did not make it clear that it was going to be the 2 of us. He did not make it clear that this was a date. We go and we watch the movie. We go to In-N-Out right after, and then he takes me up to these hills in Irvine, and like has me hike up a trail. I should have fucking ran in the opposite direction. It could have gone so south so fast. So fast. Nobody knew where I was. Nobody knew where I was. I could have died. He could have murdered me. He literally could have murdered me. But he takes me up to these hills, and as soon as we get up to the top of this hill, and I look over and I see like just like the city lights, I was like, oh, this is a date. This is a date. And I didn't even realize that I was on a date with this man right now. So he was fucking, that whole relationship was just so awful. It was just so fucking bad. But yeah, like, and then there was another time that he took me to go smoke. He was like, oh yeah, like me and my buddies are gonna like smoke up. Like, do you want to come? I shouldn't have gone. He was with 2 other grown men. I was by myself, 18, with 3 men in their mid to late 20s, smoking with them. They could have given me something laced. There are so many things that could have happened. And when I tell you, please do not ever put yourself in those situations. I know we make stupid ass decisions when we're 18. We make the dumbest fucking decisions when we are 18 years old. But please learn from my mistakes. If a guy that is older than you asks you like, hey, like, you want to come smoke up with me and my buds? Don't do it. Please, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so anyway, that was my whole spiel about men in the workplace. Let's go ahead and get into our tracks of the week for this last week. And we're going to just wrap this shit up because my camera's about to die. So, tracks of the week. Okay, Catriel and Paco Amoroso. This is all, again, Catriel and Paco Amoroso. Dumbay, hashtag tetas, el día del amigo, and then mi deseo / bad bitch. And then album of the week was Papota again. Artist of the week, Catriel and Paco Amoroso. Pretty much. What the fuck do y'all know about Pretty Much? Pretty Much. I was obsessed with them for a hot minute. And then Paramore. We'll get into the Pretty Much lore next time because I do have a story about that. So we'll talk about that next week. But anyway, loving you. Love all of you guys. Forehead kisses for everybody. Mwah. So I am beautiful. You're beautiful. We're all beautiful. And I hope you have a lovely day. Okay, bye.